ourselves. So I'd like to start with a seated practice of gratitude. And for me, this is the best way to center myself, to find peace, and to still and calm my mind. So find a comfortable seated position. You can sit on a cushion, you can sit on a foam roller, or even on a chair. And we're just going to take a moment, closing our eyes, lengthening our spine, and really tuning into our breath. Taking a couple breaths, just filling the belly. As you exhale, allowing all the air to come out of your lungs fully and completely. Just noticing how your body's feeling. Noticing areas of restriction or tension. Notice your heartbeat, the pace and the rhythm. Notice the way your ribs and your chest respond to the breath coming in and out. So I'd like you to now visualize something that brings you joy. It can be something small, like the rays of the sun touching your skin on a warm day. It can be your pet at home that brings you so much happiness and loyalty. Or it could just be just something simple as being able to take a walk down the street and enjoy your neighborhood. So whatever you're grateful for today, let's just take a moment to visualize that. And internally expressing gratitude for the simplest things in life that we often take for granted. And just allowing that gratitude to fill your body. Allowing it to pour you from the inside with feelings of joy, happiness. And allow that feeling to bring you into a centered place in your body, in your mind, and your spirit. And you can allow this to be your grounding cord. You can come back to this anchor. You can continue to think of this thing that brings you so much joy, whatever it is. Continue to come into a place of gratitude for it and allow it to fill you from the inside with that peaceful feeling. And just know that this is always there for you. You can always return to this gratitude practice. This can be so important during challenging times to find this inner peace, to center ourselves, and to find balance. So let's come back to the breath and take a couple more deep breaths together. Bringing one hand onto your lower belly, one hand onto your heart. On the in-breath, you're going to breathe into your lower belly, allowing your belly to expand, and then continue to allow that expansion to travel all the way up your torso, up your spine, into your heart. On the exhale, moving from the heart down to the belly again. And we'll do that a couple times together. So on the in-breath, breathing into your lower belly and allowing the breath to rise up your spine, all the way up into your rib cage, your diaphragm, up into your heart. Allow it to fill you with peace, and then as you exhale, all the air comes out, and you visually follow the energy of the exhale going from the heart, down the spine, traveling down to your belly button, down to your lower abdomen. So this area is called the dantian, and this is a space where we can find our center, we can find grounding, we can find our power, we can find calm here. So as we come into our dantian, it's just 3 fingers below your navel. So if you want to visualize that, can visualize it as a ball of light. And now we're going to breathe into the dantian, breathing into that ball of light. And then let it travel, let the light come up the spine to the heart, and then fill the heart with light. So your whole spine, your whole torso is filled with light all the way up. And as you exhale, you keep that light bright. So keep that effulgence, keep that spaciousness. As you exhale, just allow it to drop back down into your belly. Let's do that one more time. So breathing into the dantian, filling it with light. Let the light travel up your spine into your heart. Fill your heart with light. Let the light this time extend out from your body into the world. So on the exhale, we're allowing the light to expand and to extend on all sides of our body, so in all directions, out onto this planet. And as we do that, we're visualizing peace and loving kindness. So this is a Buddhist practice of loving kindness and offering that to the planet. So we'll do that a couple times together. So on the in-breath, you're breathing into your belly, filling it with light, all the way up to your heart, and then you're using all of that energy that you've cultivated and that you've brought together, and you're taking that energy and you're offering it back out on all sides, all directions, just visualizing the entire planet filled with this light, filled with this love, filled with this energy, and all the people on the planet that are suffering, that are struggling, that are in pain, that are sick, that need this light, that need this loving energy. You're offering this energy to them, and then you're bringing it back into your body and then back up your spine. So we'll do that one more time. So you're breathing into your belly, filling it with light, up the spine, into the heart. Exhale, extend the energy out to the world, offering it up. And then from that place, you bring it back into your body. You can even visualize it coming back down to the center of the earth. And then from the center of the earth, back up into your body, through your torso, through your pelvic floor, up into your lower belly, up into your heart, and then back out. And one more time, we're just going to take that energy back into our bodies to fill us back up. So from the earth, from that grounding cord, visualize that place deep, deep at the root of the earth, all the way up into your body. You're going to bring it up. Breathe it in, and you're going to extend it back out. Thank you so much for joining in that grounding practice with me. I would suggest using this practice as much as you need it. It's a really great way to start your morning, to start with gratitude, to start with loving kindness, and with connecting to your center and connecting to your breath. So coming on down onto your back now. And from here, we're just going to bring our hands onto our lower belly, and we're just going to feel that dantian. We're going to take a big breath into the dantian. And then as you exhale, we're going to find our core. So you're going to start to sink your lower belly down away from your hands, bringing those abdominal muscles down into your spine. And we'll do that again. So breathing in. Wide, and exhaling all the air out. And just check in with your feet, lining your heels up in front of your sits bones. That means they're about a fist distance apart. And we're going to do a couple pelvic clocks here. If you have a ball at home, you can place that between your knees or a pillow. Otherwise, just make sure your knees are lined up with the center of your hips. From there, you're going to take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, start to pull your abdominals to your spine and gently sink your lower back down into the mat. On the inhale, you'll hold there. And as you exhale, start to pull your abdominals back in, bring your ribs in, and then start to reverse. So now I've made a tiny little space in my lower back. I'm trying to work to keep my ribs down, but they are inevitably going to want to pop up. So I keep reminding myself, keep the ribs down. So let's flow a little more with that. So you inhale here, As you exhale, belly to the spine, low back presses down. Inhale to reverse, lifting the lower back off the mat, making sure those ribs stay heavy. Again, exhale, scoop the belly as you press your back down. Inhale to reverse, rolling the hips towards the thighs, making a little arch. Feel free to place your hands on your rib cage and just hold it down. Remind yourself to knit those ribs together and to keep them from moving with your pelvis. Let's try that one more time. Breathing in here, exhale, scooping as you sink the back into the mat. Inhale, pull your belly in and reverse. Nice. So from there, arms at your sides. Take a breath in. As you exhale, float your right leg up into a tabletop position. You want it 90 degrees in your knee, 90 degrees in your hip. Bring it down onto the mat. Exhale, left side. Use that breath. So the goal of this exercise is to lift the leg using your psoas, which is a deep hip flexor muscle. It attaches from the top of your thigh to the spine, right around the diaphragm level, and it actually goes through the diaphragm. So it's very connected to your whole torso, to your breath, to your rib cage, kind of connects the upper body and the lower body. So visualize that muscle working as you lift your leg, and try to use the least amount of effort possible in your quads, or the front of your hips. We call those hip flexors, which are actually your quads, but they attach at the top of your thigh. That's why they're called your hip flexors. So we're going to do one more time on the left side, and then we're going to bring the right leg up and then the left. And we'll hold the legs up here. You'll take a deep breath in, keep cinching your ribs down. As you exhale, tap your right foot down, inhale up. Left foot down, inhale up. Right leg down, up. So check in with your lower back. It shouldn't be changing at all. It shouldn't be moving in response to your leg moving. So if you want to put your hand under your lower back, you can just feel what your back is doing in response to your legs moving. So now we're going to increase the challenge a little bit more. If your low back is feeling sensitive, then feel free to stay with that first exercise we just did. Otherwise, you're going to take both legs down and up. Both legs down and up. Again, down and up and down. So when I do these, I don't go very far, because if I go too far, I feel my back arching, and it doesn't feel good on my back. If you feel stronger here, you can go all the way down if it feels okay on your back. But for me, I feel like it's enough challenge just to go there and back up. So really be honest with yourself here, and really be careful not to strain your low back as you're doing this, and to use your abdominal muscles to support your legs as you're doing it. Let's bring the legs down, and we're just going to take a little stretch. So take both of your legs to the side. I took my feet wider apart, just so when I bring my legs over, I'm internally rotating one hip, I'm externally rotating the other hip, and it gives me this nice opening in the front of my thigh, and in this muscle called the TFL, which is kind of on the side of the hip. So if you feel a stretch there, that's probably the TFL you're feeling. Let's go to the other side and bring it back to center. And let's just do one more on each side. This time we'll let the legs fall as far as they can. And then as you exhale, you're going to pull your belly in and bring your legs back up using your core. So other side, bring the legs over to the left. Hug those ribs in. Use that exhale to bring the legs back up. So we're going to do a similar thing with the legs up in tabletop. So go ahead and come up again with your legs. Arms can be a little wider this time. So if you want to bring them down onto the floor, on the outside of your mat, then that'll give you a little more stability. So you'll take a breath in here. As you exhale, sink your ribs down, sink your back down, take your legs to the right and center and left and center, right and center and left and center. And again, right and center and left and center. Let's bring the legs in tabletop still, but hands behind the head this time. You're going to exhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders up.
come into an upper abdominal curl. So if you need to rest your legs, go ahead and just bring those down on your mat. Otherwise, keep your legs lifted for an extra challenge. You're going to exhale, lift up, inhale, come down. Squeeze your legs together. Feel your inner thighs working. As you come up, look to your belly, roll your chin to your chest. Keep your head heavy in your hands. As you exhale, you're going to reach your right leg forward, bring it in, reach your left leg out, and bring it in. Right leg out, and in, left leg out. So as you're working these, you should feel no change in your back. So again, your back is pressing down. And you should feel this coming from your lower abdominals. So I'm starting to shake here. Hopefully you are too. We're going to come back to that in a second, but let's just rest down for a second. Take it easy on ourselves here for a moment. Adjust yourself as needed on the mat, and then we're going to come back and do the crisscross. So that's with the legs up in tabletop. You have your hands behind your head. You reach your right leg long as we just did, and you twist towards your left knee. Come center, reach your left leg long, twist to the right. You're going to keep twisting. As you do that, you want to keep your shoulder blades lifted off the mat as much as you can. Make sure as you reach your leg out, you're not going too low so that your back doesn't arch. So 45 degrees is usually pretty safe for that. So keep going. A few more on each side. Bring your head down to rest and just hug your knees into your chest and make little circles with your knees going away from each other. So you go out, around, and down. And just really support your legs so you're not using the muscles of your legs or your hips to hold your legs up, but you're just more passively rotating the thighs in the hip socket like you're stirring soup. And just allowing for that synovial fluid to be stimulated by this circular movement that we don't get a lot in life. So we're going to go the other way a couple times. Keep that hip massage going. Keep your low back pretty stable. You want to make sure it's not arching as you're doing this again. Last one. Nice. Very good. Let's rest the legs down. We're going to do one more thing on our back. If you had a pillow or a ball, you can grab that. Otherwise, we'll just do it here like this with the legs in this position. So we have the heels are lined up with the sits bones. You've got your ribs heavy, your shoulders heavy against the mat. You're going to bring your arms to your sides. You'll take a deep breath in here, and as you exhale, slowly begin to peel up into a bridge, one vertebrae at a time, pushing into your heels. As you push into your heels, squeeze your glutes a little bit, and you're going for this diagonal line. So from your shoulders, out through your ribs, out through the knees. You're going to roll down one vertebrae at a time, keeping your shoulders plugging back into the mat. Slowly massage your lower spine down. Roll through your pelvis, roll out through your tailbone. Take a deep breath in there, and as you exhale again, scoop and curl. One bone at a time, slowly peel up. And just kind of notice here as you're doing this, any shakes or wobbles back and forth. So you want to try to minimize how much wobbling you have through the spine as you're rolling down. You want to feel either side of your spine touching the mat equally. So if you have something like scoliosis, then you may not feel that you're even there. But for most people, as they come down, they can really feel that there's equal weight on both sides of their body. So that's what you want to feel here. So we're going to roll back up. This time we're going to hold it at the top. We're going to take a deep breath in here. And as you exhale, float your right leg up. Inhale down. Keep those hips steady. Keep that reach of your tailbone through your knees so your back is long. Float your left leg up and bring it down. So again, with the least amount of shifting or wobbling as possible, float your right leg up and down. Same thing on the other side. Float the left leg up and down. So as you're lifting one leg up, the other leg, that glute, is what's holding you up. So if you're having a hard time with this, a couple ideas here. You can just squeeze your glute, lift the leg, and see if that helps. If it feels impossible for you, then you may want to just lift the heel. Don't lift the leg all the way up, but just lift the heel. And then if that feels pretty easy, you can try, okay, I lift my heel, now I'm going to lift my foot. Oh, that's too much. Okay, toes down. So just modify that as necessary. We'll do one more time on the left with any of those variations I just showed. And then bring it down, and then roll down. So we're going to do one more variation here. And if that last one we did felt like it was too much on your back, or like you couldn't stabilize your pelvis properly, then I would suggest just going back to holding the bridge, and I'll give you a modification to do instead of this next one. Otherwise, if you want to try this with me, we're going to roll up, scoop and curl, heel up slowly onto your shoulder blades, keep those ribs tucked in. We're going to, from here, float the right leg up, straighten the leg to the ceiling. If that feels like too much, you're going to stay here with your foot down and just pulse your hips up and down. Okay, otherwise, right leg is up. You're going to kick down and back up. Exhale, down and up and down and up and bend and lower. Second side, reach the leg long, point your toes, straighten the leg as much as you can, down and up. Try to do as little change as possible in your torso, pelvis, and spine. Bend your knee, bring the leg down, re-lift the hips high, and with your chest first, you're going to roll down, soften the chest through the shoulders, soften the ribs down, soften the low back in, pelvis, tailbone. Nice. Okay, from there we're going to just do a little bit of rocking up and down the spine. So depending on how familiar you are with this, you may be able to come up and hold a couple times, or you may be down here just kind of practicing this rocking part. So wherever you're at, you're going to either rock low or you're going to rock high. You're going to come up to the balance point if you can, and then you're going to roll back nice and slow to that flat back position. So again, we're going to rock up to the balance point, hold if you can, roll down nice and slow, scoop that belly in, control, 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 and come all the way down, rest your head down. We're going to do that a little quicker. So you rock up, hold, come to the shoulder blades, lift the hips. Rock up to the balance point, hold, shoulder blades, lift the hips. Balance point, hold, shoulder blades, and lift, and hold. So make your way into this position. You're going to come to a seated position at the front of your mat, and you're going to bring your hands behind your thighs. You're going to isometrically, so it's imaginary, you're pulling your arms down. You're not actually moving them this way, but you're pulling down. It's not imaginary, you're actually doing something. You're pushing your shoulder blades down, basically. And that helps you to take your shoulders out of your ears while keeping your spine really long. So from there, you're going to reach your arms forward. Take a deep breath in. On the exhale, you're going to start to roll down from your pelvis first. So you're going to imagine your sits bones have wheels, and you're going to wheel your pelvis back away from your thighs, and you're going for this hollowed out shape like there's a salad bowl between your thighs and your ribs, and then you're going to see if you can make your way all the way down onto your back. So the cheat is to bring your hands behind your thighs, bring your legs up, and come down. To come back up that way, you would bring your head up, your shoulders up, balance point, hold, feet down, lengthen up. So that's one option. The second option would be start to roll down with your hands behind your thighs, your elbows wide. Scoop your abdominals in, and then here you would hold and you would release your arms, and then you would come all the way down with control, not using your arms. And then you would reach your arms back if you don't have plants in the way. So then you're going to float your arms back up to the ceiling. And my arms are just really light, so I kind of imagine that my arms are being held and suspended from space, and I'm using really the least amount of effort possible to hold them up there. And then as I exhale again, I'm going to travel back up through the spine, really taking my time, just finding those sticky areas. So if you can't come up through your lower back that way, it might just mean that those muscles are tight around your lower spine and they need some loosening first. So what I found, for a lot of folks, it's easier as you go along and as you do more, it starts to soften up. So let's try it a couple more times. So you're going to lengthen your spine, breath in there, exhale, start to peel down. I'm making this hammock-like shape in my lower back. I'm going to hold there, arms float forward. Continue down the rest of the way, and my arms will reach back, and I just feel this nice long stretch. And I have to remind myself here to relax my legs for a second. And then arms come up, relax the jaw even, relax the neck. Just all of these ways we hold in our body to try to help us with something that feels challenging when it's not really necessary to do so. So just noticing that. And then I'm going to lift my head. I'm going to lift my shoulders. I'm going to roll up. I'm going to come up to tall seated position. Reaching out. I'm going to breathe in. Exhale. I'm going to roll back down. Nice and slow. I'm going to take as much time as you can. Right here, a lot of work happens in the hip flexors. I'm trying to relax that as much as I can and use my core. I'm going to come down. I'll try that one more time. So as I lift, my chest is wide, my shoulders are relaxed. I'm going to come up and we'll just do a little stretch there. So open out the legs. So I have my knees wide. If you can bring your feet together and you have that flexibility, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you're going to bring one foot in front of the other. Bring your hands forward and just stretch over your legs. If this position is still really uncomfortable for you, you can use a block or a bolster to sit on. And then if you did that cross with your legs, you're going to go ahead and switch so that the opposite leg is in front. And you're going to, again, lengthen your spine over your legs. And then it's also just nice to think about stretching the sits bones back in space as I reach the top of my head forward, as I pull my chest through my arms. And I'm going again for that isometric action of dragging my arms back as my heart rolls forward. And then walking myself back up. Nice. So we're going to come on to hands and knees from here. And we want to find a tabletop position in our back. So that means you have a slight lift of your tailbone. You have your shoulder blades nice and wide. Your hands are stretching so that your fingers are really open. The index finger should point straight forward. And that's how you know you don't have too much rotation or too little. So it's not internal rotation, it's not external, it's neutral, which is about here with the index finger forward. And everyone's elbows are different in terms of where you should place them in this position. So the general rule here is if you look at your wrists and you rotate, let me face this way, if you rotate your wrists out or your elbows out, just see where the weight goes. So for me and for most people, you rotate the elbows out and the weight goes to the outer part of your wrist. And you rotate in and it goes to the inner part of your wrist. So just do that a couple times. Elbows out, elbows in. And then what you want to try to find is a neutral position where the weight seems pretty equal. And another way you can see that is if you look at your wrists, and what you want to see is there's a straight crease there with your wrist, horizontal crease. So see if you can find that position. If your wrists are getting tired, you can feel free to just come down onto your forearms now. So from this position, again, index finger forward. I have a neutral curve here in my back. The back of my neck is lifting towards the ceiling, and my chin is slightly tucked, so the back of my neck is long. I'm going to make sure that the shoulders are over the wrists, and the hips are over the knees. The belly is in. The spine is continuing to be long here. And we're just going to do a big breath into the back ribs, stretching, filling, and opening the ribs. And then as I exhale, I'm going to pull my belly up and into my spine. Inhale. Deep, big breath into the back ribs. Exhale. So notice when I do my exhale, my spine isn't changing at all. So I'm breathing in, I'm filling, and then as I exhale, I'm not doing this. So a lot of people like to exhale and tuck under. So make sure that you're not tucking under, but you're keeping that neutral curve. And then over time, almost everybody does this over time. They start to sink. So just keep checking in. It's a lot of work to continue to lift yourself up against gravity, but it's good work to do. One of the benefits of this exercise is strengthening your whole back line of your body, the back of your neck. Now we're going to do the whole back of the legs. So you're going to stretch your right leg long and tuck your toes under. And that should feel like a good calf stretch. So let's just rock forward and back a couple times. I'm reaching my heel back. I'm lengthening that back line of my leg. And again, if this is too much on your wrists, then you can actually do this way. Same thing. Okay. So from there, we're going to square the hips off to the floor. So the tendency would be to roll up like this as an exaggeration as your leg is lifting. So try not to do that. As you're lifting your leg, you're going to stabilize your pelvis. Keep those hips square. Bring the toes down, and then bring the knee in. Nice and steady there. So with as little rocking and rolling as possible, you're going to extend your left leg back. Stretch back and forth a couple times. So I'm tucking the toes under. For some people, they can't get their toes under. So this is actually a good way to work on that. Just do the best you can. And it will give you a foot stretch. And that will be one of the ways that you can work towards having more foot and ankle mobility. Keep the back of your neck long. Come back to quadruped with shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Float that leg up. Squeeze that glute here as you lift. Feel your arms working a lot. Feel your core working a lot. With as little wobbling, shifting, and shaking as possible, bring that knee back down. Okay, we're going to flow a little bit here. So as you exhale, right leg goes up and back. Inhale, it comes in. Exhale, left leg goes up and back, and it comes in. Really work on keeping that knee straight. It's much easier to bend it as it's coming up. That means it's coming more from your hamstring if you do it that way. It's more glute if you keep it straight and then just lift it up and bring it down. So one more time on the left. We're going to add the arm. So let's just practice the arms for a second. We're going to drag the fingertips forward like we did with the leg. Arm comes up. Arm comes down. Drag back in. Again, as little shifting, wobbling, and shaking as possible. The shoulders now. We're working on shoulder stability now. Drag. Lift. Shoulders are plugging down your back. Fingers down. Hand in. You can keep practicing that a couple times if that felt wobbly or shaky for you. But I think we need to take a wrist break for a second. So we're going to go ahead and come to a child's pose position. Widen your knees. Take your hips back. Stretch your arms forward. And just keep breathing into your back as you do your child's pose. Just continue to be in that position with your arms reaching long. Think about lengthening your spine. Think about breathing into your back body. You have that nice opening in the back of your heart, in the back of your ribs. Continuing to lengthen and open your back. So let's do one more breath like that. And then coming back up. Find that quadruped position again. Quick setup here. So index finger forward, tail is lifted, neck is long. So let's go again from this 4-point kneeling position. You'll extend your right leg back, lifting up. We're going to hold there. Here I like to flex my ankle and reach the energy back through my heel. My left arm is going to join. So I have right leg, left arm. I feel this cross between my left shoulder and my right hip, and that's helping to stabilize me. Bring it down. Leg goes first. Out, up, reach out through the heel. Hold there, use that glute. Pull in your belly. Hold that. Right arm forward. A lot of work in such a simple exercise. That's the Pilates mantra. So we're going to go right into it. You can continue to do that slow if you want to practice that more. Right leg, left arm at the exhale. Inhale down. Left leg, right arm. And down. Keep trying to straighten that knee all the way as the leg is reaching back. Keep those shoulder blades down your back. Feel that X on either side of the body, shoulder and hip connection. Last time, left leg, right arm. We're gonna go right leg, left arm, and hold. The tendency is for the hips to go over to the left to counterbalance the right leg. So see if you can keep your hips over to the right. You can either bring your left hand to your left hip and kind of push yourself over a little bit to the right. It's very small. Keep holding. I know this is hard. Keep the belly lifted. Keep everything lifted from the floor. And then bring it down. All right, second side. Feel free to pause the video and stretch your wrists as necessary. Left leg back. Right arm out. Holding there. Keep breathing. Keep working to shift your hips over to the left. Hips are square to the floor. Belly is in. Neck is long. Check in with your shoulders, neck, head. And take a break. Bring it down. Child's pose position again. Breathing into your back. From here, we're going to walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. So you're making a banana shape with the left side of your body, doing a little side stretch here. And you're just going to breathe into those ribs. Good. Go ahead and switch sides. Over to the left. Breathing into those ribs. Coming back to center. We're going to make our way back up. So from here, you're going to come down onto your forearms. If you need a break from your forearms, because you were just on your forearms, then you're going to go ahead and just try this exercise for a moment on your hands. And that'll give your forearms a little break, and then you can come back to your forearms. So we're going to go down on the forearms here. We're going to tuck the toes under, let the hips come down, and we're going to come into a forearm plank. So usually the hips are too high in a forearm plank. So checking in with your own body, you want to bring your hips down a little bit so they're in line with the rest of your body. Head, shoulders, ribs, hips, legs should be in one horizontal line. Keep pulling your abdominals in. Keep pushing down into your forearms. Keep breathing. And come up and take a break. Stretching back into child's pose again. But not too long of a break, because we're going to do it again. So come back down onto your forearms. Again, tuck the toes under, take the hips down. Find that horizontal line. Breathing here. Keep pushing into your forearms, widening your shoulder blades apart, lifting the back of the neck to the ceiling or to the sky in this instance. Should feel shaky here, it's good. Creating new neural pathways. Take a break, stretch back into child's. Make your way up. We're going to come into a mermaid position. It's also called Z-sit. So it's with one leg bent forward, one leg bent back. You're making this Z shape with your legs. If this is uncomfortable to sit like this, go ahead and grab a prop like a block, a pillow, a bolster. You put it under your sits bones. You want to make sure that your pelvis is still equally weighted if you have that prop. If this bothers your knees, there's a couple modifications that you can do. One would just be with your legs straight out to the side. So find your comfortable position. We're going to bring
the left hand down to the side of the mat. The right arm's going to come up and over. Breathing into those top ribs, expanding and stretching them like an accordion. Stretching up and out from the ribs through the fingertips. Your head should just be centered with your spine. So try not to just let it droop all the way down. You're holding it up in center line. You're going to make your way back up, sit tall, breathe in. Other side. This time you can come down onto your forearm. As you do that, think about reaching your left sits bone down to the mat as you reach your left arm up and out. You're going to breathe in. You're going to stack your spine up. Good, we're going to do that again. So, left hand, right arm up and over. I apologize if these sides aren't correct. I think that iMovie does flip them. So if I'm not telling you the right arm, I'm trying to mirror you, then just make sure you do both sides. You're going to rotate so that your chest faces your knee, and you're going to reach out. If that doesn't feel good in your knee, just stay in the stretch here. Otherwise, you're going to rotate and try to really stretch out with that arm. Imagine that the muscles are lengthening from the top of your hip, up through your ribs, up through your shoulder, out through your fingertips, and then we're going to circle the arm up and do a little rotation of the chest to the sky. I have this beautiful view of these tree blossoms here. So I'm just going to enjoy the blossoms and enjoy the sky, enjoy the sun. I'm going to rotate back. Heart to the mat. Rotate chest up, open. Rotate chest down. I'm going to circle the arm around, and I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going to have my right leg back, left leg forward. Start with my right hand down. Left arm up and over. Coming into that side stretch. Breathing there into those upper ribs, stretching them like an accordion. Neck is long, head is centered with the shoulders. So I'm going to come over, bring my forearm down, stretch my other arm up and over, reach my right sits bone to the mat. Inhale, floating up. Again, mermaid to the other side. This time I rotate my chest down, face the earth. I rotate my chest up, I face the sun. I rotate down, earth, up, face the sun. So nice doing this outside. And one more time, down, rotate open, and I circle around. Good, and I come on up. Very nice. So from there, we're going to go ahead and just do a little stretch. We'll straighten our legs forward. You're going to just take your feet about hip distance, fingertips on either side of the legs. Again, you can sit on a block or a bolster if you need to open your hips a little more. We're going to just take the fingers forward like little spiders crawling on your mat towards the front edge of your mat as you bring your spine over your legs. Think about elongating, stretching those muscles in the back body. So it's from the top of your head all the way down your spine, down your legs. And then we're going to walk ourselves back up. So this is called spine stretch forward. So again, if you're sitting on a block, it's going to help if you're feeling like, if you're sitting like this and your pelvis is tucked under, that means you need to sit up on something. So grab a pillow or grab a block so you can sit neutral. For some people, they need to really prop themselves up like this much. Think about like, if there were phone books still, there would be 2 phone books under your bum. Okay, so you reach your arms forward from here. And I'm even reaching the energy out my toes, so my feet are spread wide and the big toe mound is pushing forward. So I'm activating this inner line of my leg. I'm pulling the pinky toe side of my foot towards my outer shin. So again, we're going to reach the arms forward. We're going to take the ribs up and over the thighs like I'm rounding over a big ball. And then I'm going to stack up my spine 1 vertebrae at a time and elongate again. So as I come up and over, it's with control and it's with core. I'm lengthening my spine. So most of the Pilates exercises, Joseph Pilates designed to utilize our muscle strength to go into a stretch and to not just hang in the joints, but to really use our abdominal muscles, use our back muscles, use those muscles that hold us up to take our body into a controlled stretch, and then to again use those muscles to bring ourselves out of it. So that's one way that we work to avoid injury, is by using those muscles to support. So from that position, we're going to go ahead and lay on our bellies.
So from here, you can just flip around and come down onto your belly. And we're going to start on the forearms for Sphinx. So I like this position because I feel like it really helps me to feel how I can pull my chest forward through my arms. So take that moment to really lift your heart up and out as you do that. Lengthen the back of your neck and tuck your chin a little bit. You can imagine that you're just pushing your head back into this imaginary pillow behind you. And then as I do that, I'm lifting my lower belly away from the mat as I curl my tail towards my heels. Good. And then one more breath like that, holding that position. Now we're going to come on down. We're going to stack one hand on top of the other under our chest. So right hand can be on top of left, and my elbows are wide out to the sides of the room. I'm going to push down into my hands, and I'm going to lengthen the back of my neck again as I push down into my arms. And I'm going to come down. I'm going to do that again. I push into my arms. Feel those muscles of my triceps working. I lengthen the back of my neck. I tuck my chin a little bit. And I come back down. I'm really using my back body a lot here. And I'm also using my triceps. I'm using my arms. I'm using my core. So feel all those muscles working here. Nice. Okay, this next exercise is a fun challenge. So you can watch it once and see what I'm doing, as it's maybe a little hard to follow if you're not actually looking. So I'm going to do my first repetition towards you so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with my hands stacked, but this time they go under my forehead, not my chest. From there, I lift everything up. I pull my belly in. As I exhale, I rotate towards the left, and then I come back to center. I keep lifting up, and I rotate towards the right. So what people tend to do is they rotate and kind of fall down, because it's really hard to hold yourself up in that position, but that's the point. This is how babies strengthen their back muscles, as they lift up and they rotate. So they're working the multifidi muscles, which extend and rotate your spine. So that's why it feels so hard, is typically those muscles are pretty weak at this point in our lives. So that's why it's a really good practice to strengthen them and to work on them, because they help to stabilize and strengthen our spine. So again, we're going to lift up, breath in, exhale, keep your pubic bone heavy, your belly pulled in. You're going to rotate like you're looking under your left armpit, and then come back to center. Rotate the other way, and center. Pubic bone down. Rotate left. Feel your ribs rotating. If it's okay on your neck, you could even just bring your hands back behind your rib cage. Another tendency is to kind of just shift the ribs over instead of actually turning them, like you're rotating over the central axis of your spine. Good. All right, so we're going to do one more exercise in this position. You're going to come into Charlie Chaplin heels, bend your knees, bring your heels together, your toes apart. You're going to come on down with your forehead on the back of your hands or the forearms. And you're going to lift your heels up to the ceiling. Try to lift the top of your thighs off the mat. So some people can do this much higher than I can, but just make sure, as long as you're keeping your back from arching too much, it should be pretty safe. So don't lift your legs so high to where you're getting a big arch in your back. So you exhale, lift. Inhale, down. Exhale, lift, and down. And really squeeze those glutes. Squeeze and squeeze. Last two, squeeze, lift, and last one. Nice. We're going to make our way into a downward facing dog. If that doesn't feel good in your body, then just make your way up to standing, however it's most comfortable for you. Otherwise, you have your toes tucked under, your chest going back toward your thighs, sits bones wide, hands pressing into the earth. And again, we're going for this long diagonal line from the head out through the tailbone. I'm going to bend my right knee, stretching my left heel to the earth, and switch. And inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Couple more times. Work those feet. So really articulate, roll through the feet. Stretch those muscles, stretch those bones. You're going to bring your hands back to your feet and come into a forward fold. And just take a moment here to center your weight. So most people have their hips way back in a forward fold. So see if you can bring your hips forward. And you should feel your hamstrings working as you do that. So as you come up, you're going to round your lower back. And then make that C-curve shape. And your whole spine, keep shifting your hips forward over your ankles. Don't let them go back. And roll yourself up. All the way up. Nice long spine. Bring your ribs in. Bring your belly in. Shoulders are back and down. Spine is really long. So from here, we're going to roll down, come into a plank, walk ourselves back, roll up. So if this is too much on your wrists, you might just want to roll down and then come onto your hands and knees and then come into your plank. So do whatever you need to take care of your wrists. Otherwise, you're standing at the back edge of your mat. Your feet are sits bone distance apart, stacking up, lengthening your spine. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Start your roll down from the top of the head first. Imagine you're being pulled like a string is pulling you from the crown of your head to the earth, and you have that weight. It's just taking the rest of your spine down with gravity. Let the hands come down. Hands walk forward to the front of your mat. Stretch the hips up and back. Find your downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we shift forward. You're going to come into a full plank. We're going to do 3 Pilates push-ups here. So Pilates push-ups tend to be not as low. We're trying to keep the shoulder blades wide and the elbows pushing out into the sides of the room. So you're using this serratus muscle in your armpit area. From there, we're going to go downward dog. Breathe in there. Exhale. Walk the hands and feet. Forward fold. Head hangs heavy. Scoop your belly in as you roll up. Keep your hips forward. Stack up your spine 1 vertebra at a time. Lengthen here. Exhale again. Roll down from the top of the head. Let your arms dangle. Let your head be heavy. Mold your spine over a big beach ball. Walk the hands forward. Downward dog. Shift shoulders over wrists. Back of neck is long, lifting the ceiling. 3 Pilates push-ups. 1, 2, 3. Hold this one. What we're going to do here is lift the right leg. Find your stability, find your core, and lower. Left leg lifts. And down. Right leg lifts. And down. Left leg lifts. Small is fine. Make it small enough so you can still stabilize. Nice. Downward dog. Lengthen. And hands to feet. Forward fold. Slowly roll up. Stack up your spine. Nice job. Let's just end here with a side stretch. So you're going to cross your right leg in front of your left. Bring your arms up. And then you want to pull yourself over so that you're making, again, this banana shape here, or this half moon shape, as it's called in yoga. This is a variation on Ardha Chandrasana, which means half moon. And then you're going to come back up. We're going to do that on the other side. Switching legs. Bring the arms up. And pull yourself out and over. I'm just grabbing my wrist here. I don't think you can see that in the camera, but I have a hold of my top wrist, is probably the easiest way to say it. And I'm pulling myself over so I get this full stretch. I should feel my TFL here, as we mentioned before. Obliques, ribs, serratus, lats, tricep, all the way up the arm. Nice. Let's just take a little moment here together to collect the energy back into our hearts. So we can bring our hands together at our hearts, either a namaste or just one on top of the other, however you connect to your heart energy. Let's just take a little moment here for silence, for an internal prayer. Just to send this practice that we did today together out into the world for the benefit of all beings. May all